has run into trouble with the Equal Opportunities Commission. The Manhattan in North London has been branded sexist over the way it's offering free admission and free drinks to women. Sam Green reports.
This can't have been exactly what the Equal Opportunities Commission had in mind when they told the Manhattan nightclub that their policy of giving women free drinks was illegal.
I think it's just bureaucracy gone mad, absolutely crazy. I was absolutely stunned when the letter came in.
To get round the law last night, anyone in a skirt was entitled to free booze. That explains the hairy legs.
Is it really worth it, the free booze? I think so, just for a good giggle, yeah.
It's not fair. I mean, we got to pay to get in, we got to pay for the drinks. Why? I mean, like, it's just totally ridiculous.
So you wouldn't come if you had to pay for me?
She's calling you a cheapskate. Thanks.
Hi,
can I buy a drink?
Why? You get them for free.
It all just proves that some people will do anything for a free pint. In Palmer's Green, this is Sam Green for London Today.
Well, the Equal Opportunities Commission insists that a man who was refused free entrance to the club or free drinks, whereas a woman would be able to obtain these services, would have the right to challenge the less favourable treatment of him at county court. And it's told the Manhattan Club that in future it must comply with the Commission's requirements. That's it for now. We're back at 6.
Goody two, goody two, goody goody two shoes. Goody two, goody two, goody goody two shoes. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Subtle innuendos follow. There must be something inside.
About 15 minutes time, back to the house with Gabby.
Thank you very much, Keith. Now today I'm with Tony Fagan, who's facing a storm because he's had the nerve to give girls freebie nights out at his club. Doesn't sound like such a bad idea, but why are you having trouble?
Well, the Equal Opportunities Commission have come on to me and said I'm being sexist towards men for offering women free drinks and free entrance into our nightclub.
So what did you do about it?
We decided to get around it by offering it open to everyone. They gave me the option of giving it to everyone or no one at all.
Right.
So we offered it to everyone, providing they wear a dress or a skirt.
So have you had men and women turning up in dresses and skirts?
Yes, we have, yeah, quite a few.
What did the EOC say to this?
They haven't actually come back to me directly, but they did say that through other sources that I'm still liable for prosecution.
Why did you decide to do this in the first place?
Well, our trade, as everyone knows, is going through a bad patch. Thursday nights for us, the club in actual fact is the Manhattan in Palmer's Green. Get a plug in. And trade's bad, so we decided to boost trade. And in doing that, we're employing staff, etc.
Well, and what did the reaction of the people who come to the club be?
I have had a fabulous response because if whatever angle you look at it, women are coming into the club, they're obviously enjoying it. Men and husbands and wives come in, and boyfriends, girlfriends, they're happy because they're only having to pay half the price for a night out. And obviously men are delighted because the ratio is probably 3 women for every man, and they're happy with that. So I've actually had no complaints at all.
But it is rather sexist though, isn't it? Why not just say, okay, men and women come in free on a Thursday night, we'll have a good evening?
Well, they'll go bankrupt within 6 months, wouldn't they?
Okay, good answer, good answer. The EOC actually wrote to your local paper as well, didn't they?
They wrote to my local paper and informed them that not to take any more of my adverts.
Did that cause any problems for you?
Well, I had to change it around. Again, I advertise on local papers for free entrance with a dress or a skirt.
Okay, so that can be very... Well, we actually have spoken to the Equal Opportunities Commission, and they said that you were contravening both sections 38 and 29 of the Sex Discrimination Act. They say they'll have no hesitation in suing you should someone make an official complaint about your club to them. They also claim that they won a similar case last year against a club who gave freebies to anyone wearing skirts. What do you say to that?
Well, it depends on which way you interpret the law. I've had legal advice, and my lawyer informs me that I'm not breaking any sexist laws. And I would like to say if there's any sort of lawyers out there that mind helping us out, every hand will be needed.
So what are you going to do about it? You're going to stick to
Yes, I'm staying with it, yeah. I don't think I'm being sexist, As I said, I've had sort of people on income support congratulate me for doing this, and I thought initially I'd get a heart of gold prize, not a liable prosecution.
Well, good luck with everything that happens, whatever happens when you're sticking to the skirts.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's now 60 minutes past 8. Here's this morning's super hint.
Super hints.
Goody two, goody two, goody goody two shoes. Goody two, goody two, goody goody.
cars down the highways and byways with the wind in their hair. In the good old days, they rode Nortons, Ariels and BSAs too. But as reputations go, bikers wouldn't exactly be in the running for a Nobel Peace Prize. Mind you, one group, who call themselves the Outcasts, could be about to change that image. We sent Jonathan Coleman to meet the bikers with a heart.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Yes, it's me, Jonathan Coleman, just with a few of my friends here. And, you know, in the past, bike riders have had pretty bad publicity. That's all about to change, thanks to this lot here. Come along and have a look. This is the Albion in Stoke Newington. The Albion was in big trouble. Trade was bad, and there were rumours that the place would close for good. But then the bikers, like the US cavalry, saved the day, and the pub. The new publican couldn't be happier with his new leather-clad clientele. Has this always been a bike rider's pub?
No, it hasn't. It used to be known as the Albion. It's now known as the Outpost. And it's a pub for bikers, run by bikers.
Yeah. And they all seem to be pretty friendly in there. Do you ever have any problems with them?
No, not at all. It used to be a bit of a problem pub, but these guys certainly cleaned up the area. And I'd rather have them in the pub than some of the other people that used to be in the pub.
Well, there may not be much parking around the back for cars, but once you're inside, the place couldn't be friendlier. No aggro, just real bike fans enjoying each other's company and a few fizzy drinks. Even I, as a short person, felt welcome. So it is open to all sorts of people. You don't have to be a bike enthusiast to come here or a scooter enthusiast.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's one of very few pubs left in the whole of the UK that caters for bikers or people on two wheels. We have rock nights, we have ska nights, northern soul, all sorts of music. We come here for the music, for the good times, to be amongst like-minded people. We have a good time. Absolutely, everybody's welcome.
Well, there's going to be a do down here on the 17th of April, which is sort of a custom show, one day, some bands and stuff like that on. Be quite interesting, be nice and fun. I run a club for handicap riders as well, which is quite a difference.
Now, is there many handicapped people that can ride bikes? Because, I mean, I've seen guys here in wheelchairs and there's deaf bike riders and everything.
Yeah, we've got over 200 members in Great Britain across the country. The deaf motorcyclists have a similar number. There's all types of people.
'Cause I'm TNT, I'm dynamite.
Do you ride a bike?
No, I don't. I'd cycle sometimes, but I don't get to do it too much these days.
What is the best bike to have these days? No, I'd like to maybe go for a bit of a ride on one of the bikes. I think maybe one. Do you have one that kind of could handle a bigger weight?
I think I'll take you for a ride on mine.
Really? You sure you can handle it?
Oh yeah, mine can handle it.
You got the tyres pumped up and everything?
Yeah, the back wheel's out of a Volkswagen car.
Should be fine.
All right, let's take a walk on the wild side.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Coleman here at the Outpost with all my new friends. And the next time you think bike riders, don't think cliches, okay?
About time you bought us a beer, Jonathan.
Help! Help!
Not so much Marlon Brando and the wild ones, more Jonathan Coleman and the slightly naughty ones.
Slightly on Jonathan's impersonation of Easy Ride. One confusion I had in that, I didn't know that you were allowed to have scooters and motorbikes together. When I was a lad, mods and rockers, total divide, but bikes and scooters under the same roof.
Never even thought.
Peace in our time.
Goody two, goody two shoes. Goody two, goody two shoes. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Subtle innuendos follow. There must be something inside.
Of safety on the trains, this time the tubes. And as regular viewers will know that we've been following closely the fortunes of the American group, the Guardian Angels, since they arrived in Britain last month. Their plans to set up shop and train recruits were plagued by problems. Up until now, they've had no venue to hold training sessions. Last week, as we reported, they had an offer of accommodation from the owner of a chain of pubs in the capital. This evening sees the first session in Leytonstone, and with them is our reporter Martin Bashir.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome to the the Red Lion pub here in Leytonstone, where I'm joined by a group of recruits who are preparing to become London's branch of the New York Guardian Angels. It's been quite some weeks, as you said, since they arrived here, but as yet they hadn't secured a permanent base at which they could train. Well, they've done so now. Today is also significant, though, because it's their 10th birthday. They've been running for 10 years in America. I'm joined by Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, you've spent 10 years fighting crime on the New York subways. How successful have you been?
Well, that's a virtual cesspool, and that would be unfair to compare it to the London Underground. We've been very successful. People who've had to wear bulletproof vests and rubber underwear to survive the New York Underground welcome the sight of red beret-clad guardian angels.
When do you expect to be sending out the recruits that you're training here?
Well, within 3 months, by May 1st, we should be able to have patrols in the Underground and the Northern Victoria Metropolitan lines that we've been concentrating. And now a Conservative MP calls us from the Bedford area, Trevor Skeets, and asks us to begin riding that above-ground line that services the suburbs where this terrible steaming attack just recently took place, and we're going to take them up on that.
You've had a rather frosty reception here in England. Do you really think you'll make 10 years here?
Oh, no question. I'm used to being perceived of in the United States as a hemorrhoid and a red beret, but eventually the officials get into sync with the residents who have rolled out the royal red carpet, and they've treated us like the doughboys come back from the First World War.
Well, also with me tonight is Tony Fagan, who's landlord of the Red Lion. Tony, why did you decide to invite the Guardian Angels to come here?
2 reasons, really. The first being that one of my relations was attacked on the New York Underground and saved by the Guardian Angels. And secondly, I think that the public generally need them and want them.
What are you providing for them here?
We're providing facilities here in the Red Lion for 3 months, training facilities. I've actually cancelled 2 weddings for this. And also accommodation in the Manhattan Public House in Palmer's Green. And I've supplied that for 3 months.
Can I just turn briefly to Paul Besser. You've decided to join the Guardian Angels. Why did you decide to do that?
Because I feel on the London Underground nowadays, people's rights are violated and people are too frightened, as it were, to stand up for their rights.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We now go back to the studio. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed, Martin. Well, now the government